Today we are reading Romeo and Juliet, chapter 22 through 24. Chapter 22, Ben and Julio. Ben and Julio had just changed for gym class. Julio liked gym. He had a strong upper body, plus he was a fast runner. The girls in the class noticed his muscular arms on his first day of class. The guys were learning he could get the ball where it needed to be. Today they were playing volleyball. Lots of noise, wax, and an amazing amount of excitement over getting a small white ball back and forth over a net. "Hey, my man Julio, give me a lunch report. This is better than a soap opera or talk show," Ben called as he ran across the gym to toss the volleyball into the basketball hoop. "You're crazy, Ben. You can't even make a basket with a volleyball," said Julio, laughing. "Watch how it's done." The ball swooshed smoothly into the net just as the teacher blew the whistle to choose teams. Julio and Ben sat on a bench near the back of the gym. They let the younger kids play first since there was not much challenge playing ninth graders. They'd play in a few minutes when the juniors and seniors took the floor. "So, tell me, dude, what's up with you and Romy?" Julio smiled as he retied his gym shoe. "Romy and I met for lunch again. She looked good. She had on this African dress with a matching scarf. She said it came from Kenya and her mom's shop. She looked like some kind of queen or something, a queen chomping on french fries. And now we have crowned her queen. You got it bad, Julio. What did you talk about? The crown diamonds?" "No, stupid. We talked about puppies and how I'd get to her house to pick one out." "Ever been to her house?" "No, of course not. The thought of going to her house makes me jumpy. I've been to lots of girls' houses, but Romy's family has money. I know she lives in the nice part of town out beyond London Woods." "Yep, and Romy's house has a huge backyard with trees and walkways even. I've been there a couple of times. It's really fat. She said she had deer in her yard in the morning. Cool." The volleyball was so far out of bounds that it landed at Julio's feet. He laughed and tossed it back to the ninth grader with ease. "Toss it the other direction, kid," he called. "You get more points for your team that way." The boy grinned and returned to his game. "So where do you live, Julio? In a dungeon?" Ben asked while he lay flat on the gym floor. "Almost," answered Julio. "Our little place is a dull, gray apartment box on the other side of London Woods. Lots of people, more concrete than greenery, and more pigeons than deer. We only live a few miles apart, but what a difference a few miles of woods can make. So, are you going to do sit-ups or what?" "I'm inventing a new exercise. It's called laydowns. You don't have to move at all." "You're nuts," Julio chuckled. "Don't let where Romy lives intimidate you," Ben continued. "Go for it." He turned on his side then. "Must exercise all parts of the body," he said with great seriousness. "So, you got through the meal with no hassle this time?" "I wish." Near the end of lunch, just before the bell rang, the devil dogs came back. There were 5 of them this time, all dressed in the purple hoods, silently standing at our table and staring. Ben sat up. "The leaders of the family. What did they say?" "They didn't say anything, I guess. They just figured their silence was loud enough." "What did you do?" Romy and I had already planned what we would do. It worked perfectly. We kept talking and totally ignored them, acting as if they were invisible. I know that pissed them off. Yeah, it made them really mad, and it seems like they stared even louder, if that's possible. "So what, was that it?" Ben seemed disappointed. "No, wait till you hear." Julio replied with a mix of excitement and mystery in his voice. Just before the bell rang, Romy pulled her portable CD player out of her book bag, turned it up as loud as it would go. We jumped up on the table and we started dancing. "You didn't. I love it." Ben rolled on the floor with delight. Everybody, continued Julio, of course, turned to see what we were up to, including Mr. Prince, who headed our way from across the cafeteria. The bell rang just at that moment, and we gathered our stuff, grabbed hands, and ran from the cafeteria. We were laughing so hard. Wow, that was the first time I touched her. It was like bright green electricity. "You held hands? Gee, take me back to kindergarten." "Your nose is starting to look normal. Want me to redecorate it again?" "Nah, man, save it for the family," Ben declared, touching his nose and nose ring carefully. "So what happened to the devil dogs?" A friend of Romy's told her that the devil dogs were left standing by our table, looking stupid, and by the time Mr. Prince had waddled over, they had dispersed. Mr. Prince never really knew who had the nerve to dance on his lunch table. We got away clean. "Righteous, man. So what happens now?" "Who knows? I hope they figured out we don't want anything to do with them. Hey, we're up to play now. Watch me serve you out." "After all that exercising I just did, give me a break." They ran out onto the gym floor laughing. Chapter 23, Romiette and Destiny, Between Classes. The bell rang for the end of 6th period. The halls, which had been silent just a few seconds before, were instantly crowded with hundreds of students trying to get to 7th bell in the 5 minutes allotted. Most could probably make it in 3, but the 2 extra minutes were necessary to stop by their lockers, run to the bathroom, and talk with their friends. Instead of moving the pace along, as their teachers constantly tried to encourage them to do, they huddled in noisy, excited bunches, anxious to hear the last tidbit of news or gossip, which, of course, had changed in the 45 minutes since the last change of classes. Romy saw Destiny first. She was easy to spot. She was dressed in bright orange, pedal pushers, body shirt, and big-heeled shoes, and her hair was full and fluffy. Destiny, come here, girl. Guess what? Julio held my hand today. We were laughing and running after we left those devil dogs in the cafeteria looking stupid, and he grabbed my hand, and oh my goodness, it felt so good. My psychic powers tell me you got it bad, girl, or you got it good. What's up with the gangbangers? Why are they sweating you? Forget the gangbangers. Julio touched me. For real, girl, I see your soulmate rising out of the mist. Tell me what it felt like when he touched you. This is important. It felt like fire, like ice, like spice, like magic. I think he felt it too. Fire, ice, true signs. He's a Pisces, a true water sign, and you're a Leo, pure fire, a joining of the opposite forces of the universe. Awesome. When we got to the end of the hall, Mr. Wilkins, that substitute with the fake eyeball, walked toward us and shushed us, but he smiled, and we smiled back. Even with only one good eye, Mr. Wilkins could see the sparks. I'm taking notes, Romy. I've got to check my star book on this one. True soulmates meet in this life, and I am here to witness it. What happened next? When Julio finally let go, my hand felt empty. I got embarrassed and was afraid to look at him. He touched my hand once more, then ran to his gym class to get there before the bell rang. I heard the late bell, but didn't even notice it. I danced to French and didn't even care when the teacher asked me, in French, if I wanted a detention for being late. I told her, suit yourself, and just smiled. You said that to Madame Montua? How many detentions did she give you? She must have thought I'd lost my senses because she just told me to sit down and to come back down to the Earth's atmosphere. Was it that obvious? It must be something in the stars, because if I just giggle in Madame Mantua's class, she sends me out. Destiny moaned. I've started leaving a chair in the hall so I have some place to sit when she puts me out of class. Maybe I should fall in love too. Who said anything about love, Destiny? He makes me feel silly, happy, crazy, but that's not love, is it? Feels the same, they tell me, and how would I know? I get all my information from star books and teen magazines. Hey, the bell is getting ready to ring. I gotta go. Me and Julio are supposed to talk again tonight on the computer. I'll call you after that. Okay, have fun up there in the stars. There's the bell. See ya. Destiny's slim orange figure disappeared into the classroom. Later, Romy walked slowly down the quickly emptying hall. She was thinking of Julio, not math class, and she smiled as she shifted her book bag on her shoulder. Chapter 24 is a private chat room conversation with Romiette and Julio. So they are just kind of talking back and forth basically about what their plan is to come up with for the gangs that is, kind of bothering them at school. Romiette and Julio talk about how much they like each other. Romiette says she's been having these bad dreams, and then Julio says he's going to protect her.